Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the First Time Home Buyers Podcast. I am one of your co hosts, Tom Sommers with Coldwell Banker Burnett, and I'm joined as always by my co host, Eric McKenna of Remax. He is out of Pittsburgh. I am out of Minneapolis. Eric, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
Wonderful. Tax day, everything's behind us. We're moving forward now. Yep. It's spring market, so we're in full swing here with everything that's going on in both of our respective cities.
Absolutely.
And we are continuing today with our series about literally purchasing a home. And last week, if you missed it, we talked about how to choose a realtor and a mortgage lender. Today, we're going to talk about how to search for a home, which sounds kind of silly, but there's actually really good information. So stay with us. And next week, we're going to be talking about presenting an offer. So I want to start this one off, if you're okay with it, Eric, and just talk about why we are doing this show. We're doing this specific episode because a lot of buyers, especially younger buyers, millennials, are so used to doing everything on their own that they don't realize that there's actually a lot of value in having a realtor help you with the search. So we thought today we would talk about the different type of searches that we do for you as a client and kind of give you the pitfalls of the ones you may want to avoid. So Eric, do you want to start off by sharing what you do?
Sure. In Pittsburgh, and again, I can only speak parochially about my area, and Tommy's MLS might be a little different than mine. But I always like to, while not discourage anyone from searching on their own, because I think there is value with Zillow and Trulia, certainly. I like to meet with my clients, find out all their important parameters, make a stack ranking, and then work out a search that I can generate directly from the MLS that is catered to their parameters. The information is more current. It's definitely more accurate than Zillow and Trulia and the rest of them. And again, to me, it's all about stack ranking your priorities. And I like to put, to get narrow about it, I like to put school district at the top, of course. But it really is a communicative effort between me and the client. And I like to actually set up the searches for them straight from the MLS. I find them more informative.
Right. And one of the benefits of doing it that way, because I'm very similar as well, is that with the MLS, everything is accurate. So if you have a portal search from one of us on the MLS, it's more of a fail-safe checkpoint for two things. Number one, to make sure that you're getting accurate, up-to-date information. And because it's constantly refreshing, I think every 15 minutes,
Right.
you always know if there is a home for sale, it's on there because we can rule out anything that has a contingency on it. So if a home that you like all of a sudden receives an offer and it's contingent upon inspection, it will just disappear off your list. So you know it's accurate. That's
Right.
number one. And then also, too, the other part of it is the timeliness factor of it. We can set it up on an ASAP where you literally get them as soon as they come out, because in this market, unfortunately, you have to get in there in the first day or so. And I would rather have you go in and say, this doesn't work for me, than to never get a chance to see it at all because someone else purchased it before you got,
Correct.
the opportunity.
Right.
So to me, that's the basis. And stacking it the way Eric does, that's another great point. I feel that you need this as the cornerstone for your search, because the other piece that it also shares with you is that, let's say we have a search for you and all of a sudden you send me an email about a property that's not on your search. Okay, well, now we can figure out why. Is it a different school district? Is it in a different city that it's being portrayed in? Does it have too much or too little square footage or not enough bedrooms? So we can figure out, because I don't care if I show you one home or 100 houses, but I don't want to show you 50 houses that won't work for you, because then you're just wasting your time. And then you get frustrated because after a while they all start to look alike. So pinpointing, like Eric says, it really keeps the best of the best in front of you, so you're not losing out on that dream home because you're busy looking at homes that don't suit your needs.
I couldn't agree more. And as Tommy will attest to, right now, the current market, it's definitely, it's a seller's market. I mean that as a challenge. But let's face it, we don't have the amount of listings, we don't have the inventory, we don't have the volume that we've had in prior years. So it's imperative more than ever now, as a buyer, and especially as a first-time home buyer, that you're in tune with your realtor and you're absolutely set up on a very concise and appropriate search. And that's what Tommy's job is and my job is for our clients, is to help you create that search.
Yeah, and so let's talk about the different searches a little bit to give you also some understanding of what we're looking at. So when you look at an MLS search, for instance, that's set up for you by one of us, you're getting direct feed off the MLS.
Sure.
Whether it's Coldwell Banker, Remax, Century 21, whomever it might be, all of those are secondary searches when you go on any one of those pages. So you'll get broker reciprocity, meaning that
Nice.
if you go on to Remax, you'll see Coldwell. You'll see every house that's available for sale that's an MLS house, okay? But there are some third-party aggregators that are different than that. So with the MLS site or the searches you get directly from one of us, it's more timely, but it's also more accurate. And to give you an example is, let's say I have a house that's listed and I get an offer on it, and my client accepts the offer, so now it's contingent upon inspection. That will show up in a search that we designed for you because we can have the filter. But that house will still show up just as an active listing on any one of those other websites because for whatever reason they don't pull that information.
Yes.
So I want to avoid showing you the wrong thing or showing you something that's already sold.
Great point. And I think that the third party, the aggregate pullers, so to speak, pulling from the MLS, there could be good reason why they don't pick up on the contingents and the other designations for each property, because they want to show as many properties as active for their own statistics. And that doesn't benefit you, the home buyer. You want the most concise information, the most accurate information, and the most timely information. And I think that's by letting your agent set up an MLS search for you.
Yeah, and also too, to go on that point is, so you understand what a third-party aggregator site is those are now all MLS, non-MLS based websites. So
Right.
your Trulias and your Zillows, they do take some from MLS feeds depending on what they've worked out in each city, but you as an agent have a lot of control about what you put on or don't put on. And there are some people who will leave sold properties on there just to try to get you, the buyer, to call them and try to sell you something different. And
Yes.
because, to Eric's point, they want more homes to show up when you search on Google, that's
Right.
why lots of times it's very inaccurate. Now, they're not doing it on purpose, but they don't have the same kind of setup that the MLS does. The other piece, too, I want to point out is there is a site called the MLS Online. Okay, the MLS Online is no different than Coldwell Banker or Remax or Edina or Century 21 or any other broker. They're a broker, so they paint the picture like, ooh, you have MLS access. Well, I'm telling you right now, no one that is not a licensed agent has direct MLS access. I don't care what city you live in, unless you have an agent who is setting it up for you.
Correct.
So if you want the most timely, best information, you want to be working with an agent who will set that search up for you. We're not saying, hey, don't search on Trulia or Zillow. Those sites are great and they have a lot of great value, but it shouldn't be the only place you go any more than you should only go to any particular site.
Very good points. Very good points. And again, it's not disrespectful towards Zillow or Trulia or any of them. Those companies are big marketing firms.
Right.
They're marketing firms. Keep that in the back of your mind. They're not always the most accurate. They're not always the most timely. They serve their purpose. They generate interest in listings. They generate interest in potential home buyers. They're good for the industry. But in terms of your particular search, especially as a first-time home buyer, you want to be dialed in, especially how competitive the market is now. You really want to work with your agent, being dialed in. And again, that's going to take some heart-to-heart conversations on what your priorities are. And that's something you can even start with before you even contact your realtor. You can really start listing the areas you want to be, the type of house you want, the bedrooms, how many baths you need, all those parameters. Get in tune with what you really want, and it's going to help your relationship with your realtor be even more efficient.
Absolutely. Yeah, and to further that point too, we have rules and regulations that we have to follow. We have a code of ethics. We have all of these different things. So when I list a house on the MLS, we have certain criteria we have to follow.
Sure.
Well, that's not the case on the advertising type sites. So we're bound by certain things that just keeps all this information absolutely accurate. So that's another big piece of it. So search on your own all you want, but make sure you have someone helping you get everything set up. And here's a great example. Some of these third-party sites will put a house up for sale that says that it's foreclosed on. Okay, well, it's not. What happens is that they have a system that's set up that the minute that someone falls behind on their house payments by a couple of months and they get a notification, all of a sudden, boom, it's up on the internet saying that this house is foreclosed. Well, that's a whole nother conversation because foreclosed and in foreclosure, short sale, pre-foreclosure are all different. So you're going to be chasing your tail again, looking for a house that you think is this mega great deal that doesn't even exist.
That's exactly right. And we all know about the television shows and the reality shows of flip this and flip that, and renovate this and renovate that. So the catchphrase of foreclosure has been so, for lack of a better phrase, kind of bastardized. And
Yes.
the reality is that it means today, unfortunately, from a marketing standpoint, to encompass way more than it actually is. And Tommy, it's a great point. Pre-foreclosure is just as broad, if not broader of an area as actual foreclosure is. And to be able to delineate between the two of those as a buyer is imperative. And that's another reason you need your realtor.
Yep, there you go. So I hope that this helped you today and you learned some new things. And again, we're always shilling for ourselves. And if you're in the Minneapolis St. Paul area and you need a realtor, call me. I want to help you. If you're in the Pittsburgh area, please call Eric. He is great. He will do a wonderful job for you.
We
So
will.
we still want you to have this good information. So if you're in another part of the country, we'll answer questions. Call us if you have concerns. Thanks for tuning in. Again, next week we're going to be talking about presenting an offer, how you write an offer, what that looks like. Until then, thank you very much. If you have questions, contact us, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.